Ready to transform your income in just 90 days? That's exactly what I want to talk to you about inside this video. And hey, if we haven't met, I'm Lise. I've been in business for over 15 years and I've been helping female entrepreneurs grow and scale their business sustainably, basically without social media. So let's talk about how you can actually increase your income in 90 days. Like, I want you to grab a calendar and sit down and map out exactly what I'm going to share with you right now. The first part of this entire process is walking through a daily sales ecosystem. Now, the daily sales ecosystem consists of a few different components. So let's dive in and look at what that could be for you. The daily sales ecosystem is something that I have been doing in my business in varying forms since 2019. And it's exactly the process that allows me to make daily sales. So, the first thing that we always want to think about is, how am I growing my audience and how am I growing my offers? What does that look like? And we want to automate as much of this as possible. We want to automate growing our audience, and we want to consider how we can make our offers more evergreen and more accessible. So that's what it looks like to be in the grow phase. The next part of the daily sales ecosystem is the nurture phase. How am I being visible and discoverable to my audience? Now, the nurture phase, you might be thinking, is only about giving people a whole bunch of value. But the way that I like to nurture is to also sell. So I'm a huge fan of nurturing and selling, right? It doesn't need to be exclusive, because at any given time in your audience right now, there's only 2% of people who are actually ready to buy. So everybody else still needs education, still needs information, but the 2%, they want to buy. So why not meet both people head on by nurturing and selling? So in the nurture phase, we are figuring out what your discoverability and visibility frameworks are going to be. How are you showing up? What does that look like? And how can you ensure that you're also selling whilst providing a ton of value at the same time? And then the third part is all about selling, right? The selling phase is the core piece of our business. If we aren't selling, then we're not in business, right? If we're not selling, we don't have the opportunity to make money. So you want to make sure that you know what selling looks like for you. And there's lots of different ways that you can do that. And it really does come down to what feels easy and fun for you, whether that's crafting a very specific promotion plan for each month, whether that's setting up evergreen sequences and automations, whether that's live launching. Whatever you want to do is entirely up to you, but that is what the selling phase is all about. And then I've also added on here a systems phase, and that's really about nailing down your systems to make everything very, very easy so that you can pivot, tweak, refine without having to always be starting from scratch. So now that we've talked about the daily sales ecosystem, let's actually go into the core components of this by going through the grow, nurture, and sell phases and what that is actually going to look like for you at an individual level. So make sure that, one, you have a calendar handy, and two, something to write stuff down so that you can create your own daily sales ecosystem for the next 90 days so that you can increase your income. Ready? So in the grow phase, we are wanting to do two specific things. One, we want to grow our audience. And two, we want to make sure that we are creating easy yes offers. Now, that doesn't mean that we always need to be creating, right? The offer side of things is largely going to come down to where you are at in your business. But let's talk about growing your audience. In my experience, there's two very simple ways to do this. One is through collaborations, and two is through paid lead generation ads. Really simple. So it really just comes down to, do you have more time or do you have more money? Up to you. With the lead generation ads, you can absolutely get away with around $300 a month to automate your list growth. But if you're going to run lead generation ads, you just want to make sure that you have a couple of offers on the back end that you can present to those new people so that you can basically offset your ad spend. I'm all for making sure that we optimize all the things. So make sure if you're going down the path of lead generation ads, that you've got a budget and that you know what you're going to sell to those people within the first 30 days that they're in your world. On the collaboration side of things, there's loads of different ways that you can do that. My two favorite collaboration strategies are participating in summits. So, virtual, online, in person, whatever rocks your boat, and also podcast interviewing. So, being an actual guest on a podcast. Those are my two favorite collaboration strategies. Done consistently, you can almost expect to get the same amount of people into your world as if you were running paid lead generation ads. So, I'm a huge fan of actually doing both, maximizing all the things. But what I want you to do right now is to sit down and go, okay, how am I growing my audience? And let's look at it from a 90-day perspective. Over the next 90 days, how do I intend to grow my audience every single day? Now, if you have a little bit of a budget, then I would definitely recommend investing in paid lead generation ads, and Facebook and Instagram are the two platforms that actually do this really well and allow you to create an instant form experience, which means that the person is entering the details on platform. They're not going to your website. I would say you should be seeing anywhere from 50 to 100 people coming into your world every week if you're spending $10 a day. Conversely, if you want to do the collaboration side of things, you do need to be a little strategic. You need to make sure that the topics that you're talking about are going to attract your ready to buy customers. So when you're sitting down to map this out, you just have to think about, okay, over the next 90 days, what is going to be the easiest thing for me to get started with right now? And then you dive in. You will want to, if you're going to collaborations, decide whether you're doing summits, whether you're doing guest podcasting, whatever that looks like. Where are you going to find those people? What does that look like? Facebook is a great place to find collaboration opportunities. So make sure that you actually search for the word collaboration in Facebook, and you will find tons of groups that exist that are specifically designed to help you find collaborations. And then on the offer creation side of things, I love to talk to my Grow Nurture Sale collective members about using their human design strategy to help them create easy yes offers. Now, if you're not on the human design bandwagon, totally fine. All you need to pay attention to are things like, what is it that I notice my audience is asking for? Now, they don't always necessarily ask for it. The other way that they might ask about something is by talking about something that they're struggling with or that they're complaining about. So pay attention to cues like that to help you craft offers that your audience actually wants. Now, you can also just survey your audience, right? If you're going to the effort of growing your audience now, you can also survey them and just ask them, what do you need help with right now? I always use that wording right now because sometimes people think they need to do a whole bunch of different things, particularly when it comes to running a business. So you just want to think through, what do they need help with right now? Or you can word it, what is it that you're looking to achieve in the next 30, 60, 90 days, whatever time frame works for you. So plan it out. What does it look like for you to grow your audience every day? And what does your offer creation cycle look like? Do you have any gaps? Have you asked your audience what they actually want? And then we are going to step into what it looks like to nurture your audience every single day. In the nurturing phase, we are focused on discoverability and visibility. Discoverability is all about having one long form content platform. So this could be a blog, a YouTube channel, a podcast. And this is where you are creating content that directly correlates to an offer. So you always want to reverse engineer your content, and it should always lead to an offer. So whatever it is that you want to create, you're going to do that. But pick one long form content platform. Then from there, you take that long form content and you repurpose it for visibility. Now, visibility really depends on what you're doing, whether you're on social media or not, whether you are heavily invested in email like I am, then that content turns into your visibility pieces. And why I love to start with long form content is that you get to use that multiple ways. and you can turn a long form piece of content into multiple emails, social media posts, whatever it is that you're trying to do. So, discoverability, visibility, and then you also want to speaking to your audience on a platform that you own. And honestly, that is predominantly going to be your email. It could be a private community that you also host off social media. So I'm not talking about Facebook groups. I'm talking about maybe having something on a school community, circle, heartbeat, whatever. If you have a free community off Facebook, then you could also choose to be chatting to them on a regular basis. But you also just want to make sure that you are speaking to them at least once a week on your owned platform. But when you own a community and when you own your email, these are assets that you get to speak to on a regular basis. So this is where the nurture and sell framework comes in. And this is what I do literally every day. So I send daily emails to my audience, and they are what I call the nurture and sell framework. And basically, all that that means is there is a story, an actual takeaway, and a call to action that pitches one of my offers. In its essence, that's what the nurture and sell framework is. So I choose to do that there. I can do it in my community on Heartbeat, but I'm making sure that every single piece of content that leaves my email is a nurture and sell email, because I always want to present the opportunity for people to buy from me. So when you are mapping this out for yourself, you just want to sit down and go, okay, what content do I have in place that already exists? Is it optimized to point to an offer? Because I'm pretty sure that if you're watching this, you have content created on a blog, on a YouTube channel, on a podcast. Are you optimizing it? If you're not, this is your job over the next 90 days to go back through and optimize it to point to an offer. And then from a visibility perspective, what does that look like? How are you being visible? And making sure that on your own platforms that you are speaking to your audience using a nurture and sell framework type of post or email to always be selling, always be presenting the opportunity for people to buy from you. And then in the selling phase, it's pretty simple. We just want to make sure that we are selling to our people every single day. Now, as we already discussed, there are a couple of different ways that you can do that. And it really just depends on where you are in your business, what tech you have access to, those types of things. At the bare minimum, you definitely want to have a monthly promotion plan. Now, this is where you sit down and look at the month ahead and go, okay, these are the offers I have. This is how often I want to be promoting them. And maybe I'm going to do something that is seasonal. So, for example, as you're watching this video, we're heading into May 2025. And so we're in spring. So maybe you want to do something around spring. Mother's Day is coming up, lots of different international special dates in May as well that you can craft promotions around. But the key is, if you aren't being intentional with your promotions, how are you making money? Like, what does that actually look like? So that would probably be my biggest recommendation, is to actually sit down and map out your promotion plan for the next 90 days. What are you doing in this month, the next month, and the month after? What does that actually look like? And these can build upon each other as well. So you can choose to do a flash sale on something in May, then in June, you might offer a limited time bonus. And then in July, you might choose to do something live. Whatever it is, be intentional with it. And then the other piece of this is also setting up ever selling email sequences. And what I mean by that is, you don't always need to be launching, you don't always need to be actively promoting. You can evergreen this. And that's what an ever selling email sequence looks like. It's basically where you're presenting the opportunity on an ongoing basis to a targeted segment of your audience with whatever it is. So I do this in a lot of different ways, but the simplest one that you could probably go and implement today is what I like to call the Friday flashies. So every single Friday, there is an evergreen email that goes out to my audience. And what it does is provide them with a 24-hour window to claim a 50% discount on one of my offers. Now, I have 50 plus offers, and all the offers that I'm offering are self-study, or there are some one-off coaching pieces that people can purchase. So an hour strategy call, Voxer coaching day, those types of things. But the email is set up and it just goes out and it just cycles through every Friday a different offer. And this is automated. I've set it up and I just add an email to it every single week. So it's just ongoing. And once people kind of get to the end of that, it's going to start them back through again, unless I run out of offers to promote, right? That's what that looks like. Now, if you wanted to do something like this for yourself, and maybe let's say you only had 5 offers, then you might choose to do this once a month, right? You could automate this. You could set it up to go out on whatever day of the month you want it to go out. And it could be a 24-hour or a 48-hour flash sale. And that's it. You just evergreen that. So it's just set up to always be going out and it's in a sequence. And that's the difference between active and passive. Active would be a broadcast email. Passive is evergreen. So it's set up in a sequence. So no matter where someone joins, they go through the very start of that sequence. So at any given time, people are being presented different offers. And I love getting sales on every Friday. It is so, so fun. So as you're sitting down to plan out, decide, do I want to do a monthly promotion? Or do I want to do something evergreen and then go ahead and set that up? So, as you're sitting down and mapping this out, if you want to accelerate your success and implement these in a very specific way, then I'd love to invite you to check out the Grow, Nurture, Sell Collective. More details either up on your screen right now, or you can check it out in the description so that you can implement and set up your own daily sales ecosystem based on what your goals are and where you are in business right now. If you also want to see what my daily cash flow checklist is all about, which is the things that I do every single day to ensure that my daily sales ecosystem just works, you can see that video coming up on your screen right now. It's going to walk you through all those different components and give you some ideas for what this might look like for you in your own business. I'll see you in that video.